Hey there. So today I'm going to show you how to plot multiple subplots using matplotlib and specifically for two-dimensional histogram. Before we even begin plotting, we need to get the data. So in this line here, I use Panda to read a text file. So first of all, let's import everything. And now we can read the data frame. Great. Now we can continue to create our figure. So let's just copy this line here. And as you can see, I've created 4 subplots in this figure. Let's see why did it create 4 subplots. So if you can see here, we can assign a number to the rows and to the columns. So in my case, I said I want 2 rows, 1 and 2, and 2 columns, which is 1 and 2. And also the fig size. In this part here, you can see that I mentioned the type of projection. This is a type of geographical projection. We won't get in this video too much inside of this option, but there are different types of projections and that's all you need to know for now. So good. So we created all of our subplots and let's run this code here. I'll get into it in a minute. So the extent is going to be used later in the geographical extent that we want to focus on in our plots. The color map is a yellow or red color map. I really like how it looks in this type of plots. And the norm is going to be a LogNorm, meaning that all the data that we're going to use in our plots is going to be in a log scale. So let's see what we can do with each one of our subplots. So each row inside of axis, remember, we assigned fig and axis to the result here. So in each row in axis, we can do all kinds of stuff. I defined x1 and x2 being the item in the first place and the item in the second place. This is very useful for configurations you want to make universal for all of your plots. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to loop over each row in my axis and then access each one of my subplots. And then I'm going to add geographical features to them. So if I'll just run this entire piece of code right now, you can see that I got 4 subplots with the Mediterranean Sea inside of them. So this is the result of the code here. So in this line, I say that the land filling color is going to be white and the coastline color is going to be black. And because I have 2 different subplots in each row, I can contact these subplots specifically and add different features to them. So if I wanted to make it red, I could do that for that specific subplot in each line. So if I run the code now, you can see that this is what I got. I got that the second plot in each row is going to be red. So let's just change it back to black because I wanted black. Good. And if you want to be even more specific, you can assign variables for each one of the axes. So axes in the first row in the first place, first row in the second place, the second row in the first place, and the second row in the second place. So if this is something that is even too general for your needs, you can be even more specific and use this. And then you can do the same things you did here on these variables. Good. So now let's continue to plot our data. So here I already wrote a code for my histograms. So we can just run this and this is the result I'm getting. So you can see that in each plot there's data and I want you to pay specific attention to the norm I use here. So the cmap I used was YlOrRd and the norm you can see that it is the log norm for each one of the histograms, but in each histogram, I defined a different vmax. So if you want different vmax for each one of your histograms, you can do it manually like this. But if you want to make the same configuration for each one of your subplots, you can instead just configure this variable which contains the configuration for the borders just the way you want it. And you can run this, and now what you'll get is this. So you can see that there's a uniform color scale to each one of our subplots. And if you want to make it a little bit prettier and make the subplots closer together, we can use the fig type layout method, and the result is going to be this. So now it's much better and much prettier. And let's add the color bars. And now let's add the color bars. So if we want one color bar for the entire figure, we can just use this line over here. And what we do here, we add a color bar to our figure. And here we can specify what is the color limit that we want to use in our color bar. So in my case here, you can see that I took the Hist1 color scale, which is between 1 and 1,000. And then my axis for the color bar is going to be axis, meaning that it's going to be in the height of this entire rectangle of the figure. So let's run this code now. And now you can see that what I got is all my subplots with their color scale and that color bar over here. And that's good. But what if you wanted to make a different color scale for each one of your subplots and also an individual color bar for each one of your subplots? So you can do it by using this code. So here you can see that I've configured all these color bar variables. And in each variable, I took the histogram that is relevant to that color bar. And also I specified in what subplot I want that color bar to show. So if I'm going to run the code now, that is going to be your end result. And you might say, but how do I know what my vmin and vmax are? If you, for example, get a lot of data and there's so much data that you just can't go manually over it, or it's too hard. So there's a simple fix to that. You can just use this line of code and you can get the color limits for your histograms. So if I run the code now, you can see that this is my color limit. Because we use the LogNorm here and we already configured a vmin and a vmax, so this is what our borders are going to be. But if you didn't use the LogNorm here and you just do a histogram without the norm part here, then it will get you the color limits of your histogram. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next lecture. Goodbye.